And for a closer look at the economy, I'm joined by Liang, Professor of Economics, Willamette University. Good to see you again, Professor. Let me start with these retail sales numbers. We got a lot of data to go through, but the retail sales numbers, there's a lot there. On one hand, they were weak, but on the other hand, the market seems to be okay with it, or at least somewhat cheer it on. Help us better understand this.
Yeah, good to talk to you, Phil. So I think you're right. I think the retail sales number is slightly down by 0.5% in October year to year. But we have seen, still pretty strong sales in terms of auto sales, and that has been up by 3.9%. And online physical goods have gone up by 20%. So I think, again, what we are seeing here is the pandemic, the COVID restrictions that are really in some ways elevating the uncertainty and also the weaken the consumer confidence and also created a lot of inconvenience for people to go out to dine, to shop. So I think, as you mentioned, and the reporter mentioned, that there is some easing of the COVID restrictions. So I think that would definitely, in some ways, help with retail sales.
This 16-point plan, and you're right, it's the uncertainty that's causing anxiety, right? Whether it's the stock market or the economy or the job market, specifically in China. Nobody likes uncertainty. This 16-point plan is designed to sort of relieve some of that uncertainty in the property market. Number one, will it work? And number two, which parts do you think are going to be most effective?
Right. So I think, the real estate market is continue to be sluggish. We've seen that the top 100 properties developers, their sales have gone down by 28%, and this is 16 months right in a row that they're seeing their sales went down. So I think with this new measures, what they're hoping really is trying to provide a financing to the so-called viable developers. So it's very much targeted, and also the financing is provided to finish the incomplete projects. So I think all these will be helpful, and also the support for home buyers, right, to help them to negotiate their mortgage repayments and so on and so forth. So I think these will be helpful to manage the liquidities of these developers and allow them to finish the project, so then the consumers will continue to, hopefully improve their confidence in the market. But again, none of these measures is sort of new. It's a continued liquidity support. As you remember, the policy banks back in August was asked to finance $28 billion for those unfinished projects. So we're just hoping that this new measure would, again, help these projects to be finished. But more importantly, what we're really hoping is this could somehow can revive the market confidence, right, to encourage more new home sales and also stamp the price downfall in the real estate market.
As we have learned from global crises in the past, whether it's the U.S. housing crisis or what happened in Greece or Europe, it just takes a lot of time. Like, everybody wants to fix it tomorrow, but that's just not how the economy works, because they're human beings. One of the issues that's also come up is we've seen China, sort of in hibernation, if you will, partly because of COVID, partly because of the global economy, but also partly because all these conflicts are going on in the world. So now we've noticed a noticeable difference in the last few months that China is trying to come out, things are getting reopened, and sort of trying to get things back to normal. And part of their G20 coverage that we've talked about is things are seemingly getting back to normal, and they are talking about doing more trade and more cooperation. What would you like to hear from the leaders of the G20 that might benefit, I guess, China in that mission?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I think that gets to the silver lining part. I think you and I have speculated, when the COVID restrictions will be relaxed. Is it soon, or is it we have to wait until the spring? So now we do see some light. So there are 20 measures that are put forth to reduce and more precise and sort of more targeted kind of COVID restrictions. There is a relaxation of, how long the quarantine needs to last, and also do we worry about the second contact of the second contact, and so on and so forth. So I think there is some sense that, the COVID restrictions will be relaxed, but it definitely will take its time to work out. as people overcome their fear and sort of live with the new realities and so on and so forth. And internationally, I agree with you. There are some tailwinds that the German chancellor's visit to China and the ASEAN summit, and also the Xi Biden meeting on the sideline of G20, and also the G20 meetings itself. I think all of this produces some sort of positive messages, right? That the countries would try to work together. The U.S. declared, President Biden declared that there will not be, new Cold War. So hopefully countries can really implement these measures and trying to, rescind some of the protectionist stance and policies and try to work together, with macroeconomic policy coordinations, with, removal of some of the punitive tariff schemes and so on and so forth. So I think those are really important to revive the global supply chain and boost confidence and really help the economy that it's really, I think, have this looming recession.